Imagine it's your 5th birthday and in your world, you're the center of the universe. You spot a blue bike in the middle of the store and it's a moment of destiny. The bike is just a few steps away and like an excited puppy on a leash, you pull your mom towards your desire. With a cheerful grin on your face, you point to it. But what does mom say?
We don't have money for that.
But ma, all the other kids on TV have bikes. Why can't I have a bike?
Well, they're rich and we're poor.
Like fresh white linen, touched with soiled hands, you've officially begun your training. You thought you had everything, but gradually this concept of not enough is introduced into your system. What exactly does it mean to be poor? Who are the poor and what is poverty? This is a Let's Do Life podcast and I am your host, Afrika Armando. Like you, I've got some lofty dreams brewing and this is just the right place for thoughtful idea pastries, mind rubs with friends, and exotic Russian tea. In today's episode, we'll have a short chat with some homeless people on the streets. So there I was, walking through the streets of Philadelphia in my long winter coat like Sherlock Holmes, about to uncover a mystery. My aim was to interview anyone asking for money in person or on the streets. My intention was simple. I wanted to find out their take on this idea of programming your mind for the future you desire. Why did the narratives of their lives seem to suggest otherwise? So why wasn't it evident that this thing, which we talked about last week about programming your mind for the future you want, why didn't it seem to be working or evident in their lives? So as anticipated, it didn't take long till my first encounter. I spotted a sweet old lady sitting on a chair with a white cup and an outstretched arm towards pedestrians asking for some change. So, touched with compassion, I headed towards her direction. And I told her, when I got to her, I told her about the podcast and all this cool stuff. And I asked her if she would be willing to have a conversation with me. But I must say, I was quite amazed by her response.
You got $25? I ain't gonna do no survey for cheap.
Okay, just rewind now. That was definitely not what I expected. I offered to buy her some groceries and she sure had a list ready. Get me some milk, a pack of paper plates, a box of face wipes, a can of ham, and a box of tasty cakes. And she specified box quantity.
Do you remember what I just said? What did I just ask you to buy?
And I went through the list again. Now, since I planned to talk to a few people, I had allocated a certain budget for each person that I would talk to. And I got the things I could at the moment. But lo and behold, when I brought her the stuff that I bought, the first thing she said was,
"Oh, that is just too small.
That milk is just too small." She was quick to point out what I didn't get. And it took a very long time before I got a thank you. And not that I did any of those things because I wanted her to say thank you. That was not the purpose of me doing that. But it was beginning to reveal something about her character. I'll let you listen.
Did you go to college or high school? Or
No.
why not? Why not? Racism?
At that time.
At that time.
Now you can go only for white people. Not anybody else. Give me flat out. I give you $3-4.
You ever try going to a church? Because I know they have a lot of programs that they help people out.
How I look?
You look good.
No. Am I white?
I
Am I
go
black?
to. I
Am
go
I
to.
black?
Huh?
Am I black?
No.
Am I white?
No.
All right.
But I go to a church that's multi cultural, and they have different programs where they help people out.
Racist. They won't give you nothing.
Wouldn't you say it's more about the mind? So
No, it had nothing to do with your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's the people who have the authority. They don't want to give you nothing. You're a poor Get your own. I got mine. Get yours. That's weird.
But do you think maybe it's it has to do there has to be a balance, so people also have to take responsibility, and then the society also.
It has nothing to do with it. You go and you try and they won't give you.
Now, this isn't an attempt to villainize this wonderful lady. Only God knows the experiences she's had to go through, which have shaped her into the person that she is right now. But it did help me understand or begin to understand this epidemic of poverty. And just a little disclaimer, I did not record anyone without informing them that they would be recorded. Just to have that on record. But, I continued my quest, and funny enough, a lot of the incredible people I met later were a stark contrast to this wonderful lady. So it's like they had the complete different reaction. Whereas she was very confrontational and seemed ungrateful, all the other people that I met just seemed to have this authentic interest in me as a person, and then they were just really kind people and really nice and grateful.
There's so many lovely people out here to help you. They are very nice. I don't got no color bearing or nothing. Because everybody is the same. We got 2 arms and 2 legs. Then the man upstairs, he looks out. He gets mad. He looks out for me.
Come on.
I'm a good guy. I don't start no trouble. I take medication.
That's Kevin.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not something that's going to be forever. Back on my feet. So, yeah.
And that's Thomas. But it's still too early for me to, form any conclusions or present any conclusions on poverty in Philadelphia, because this is just the initial stages of our research. The stories I heard were very different, and the people themselves really complex. But back to our initial question, what does it really mean to be poor, and what is poverty? Is it solely the absence of required necessity? Or is there a deeper root to this?
I tell people, there is no congenital poverty. Nobody was born poor.
Say what?
We think, oh, come on. If the father and the mother didn't have nothing, then that child was born poor. No, nobody was born poor. There's nobody in the world who was born with something in his hand. Everybody was born the same way. So what happens to people? It's very simple. Poverty is taught. You're taught to be poor. So you look at you look at your home, you're growing up, it's not congenital. Look at you. Oh, look, those kids over there, they're happy, they're well dressed. So why don't I have those toys? And they say, they're rich, we're poor. He didn't know that. He thought his father had everything. He was satisfied. He wasn't asking for anything. He's a little guy. He's not asking for anything. Children just grow up and love wherever they're put.
Now that's Reverend Dr. Chris Oyakilome, who is the president of one of the largest NGOs in Africa, successfully lifting families, thousands of families out of poverty and changing their trajectories.
They don't care. You have to let them know, this is where we are. We're different from those other guys over there. They're rich and we're poor. He didn't know that. Oh, really? He didn't care that you didn't have a car and the other guys had a car. It didn't matter to him. He didn't think that meant he was poor. He had to be taught that, you see, you can't have it because you're poor. You need to have money before you can have that. He didn't know that because the parents or guardians or those that were bringing them up had the poverty mentality themselves. See, they were poor in their minds. Now they're teaching the kid how to be poor. So he grows up learning poverty, and then he reproduces poverty. I tell people money exists in the mind of the poor. There's no such thing as money. Don't be deceived. Everything you'll ever have, everything you'll ever require is inside you.
He's not condemning the poor here. If anything, one of his key beliefs is that every child is your child and we all can do something more to help. But he's highlighting a mindset, a kind of thinking, a way of mental processing that is present and prevalent in the poor. And this is similar to something I heard on a TED Talk where this guy was presenting this idea of a scarcity mentality. Now, again, there are many factors that contribute to poverty. There is a lot of information out there, but we're just tinkering to find out what it is that we could do in a small way, or what micro change can we begin to make. And here's one thought. What if we started teaching the future generations to ditch this victim label and abandon this cacophony of identity politics. It's doubtless that the systems of this world weren't created in favor of many. They're not fair. But look at some heroes among countries with low GDPs. The Landfill Harmonic in Paraguay, whose instruments are made from trash. I kid you not, I'm going to include some links in the show notes so you could check them out. Landfill Harmonic. Or the single mother selling peeled oranges on the streets in Cameroon to send her kids to school. All these wonderful and incredible stories of innovation are everywhere, especially in these countries which seem to be the downtrodden. This brings to mind the words of Mia Birdsong. Instead of trying to alter the fabric of existing ways, let us weave and cut some fierce new cloth. Again, like I said, this is a broad conversation and there's many sides to it and there's much more to cover. And I would love to hear your take, what you think about this, and you can share your thoughts on letsdolifepodcast.com. I deeply appreciate your reviews and shares. You guys are beyond incredible. I'll see you next week.